Gizzards were good. The crackers, they were good too. The barbecue was very unsatisfying.
This time I'd like to call to order this special meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commissions to hear the following developments: Bullion Crossing and Town Park Center. Riverton Plantation has been pulled from our agenda this evening. So this time I'd like to, I'll go ahead and call roll and let the record show that all commissioners are present. And we'll go ahead and open up the public comment period. Anyone wishing to address the commission on an agenda item that is not up for public hearing, please come up, sign in with the secretary, and you'll get your 3 minutes to speak. No one wishing to speak. Item 4, acceptance of the minutes of the May 9th, 2007 meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Have a motion by Paige Becknell to approve. Second by Steve Barrow. Is there any opposition or discussion? Motion passes. Item 5, acceptance of the minutes of the June 13th, 2007 meeting.
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve by Steve Barrow. Second by Sherry Slyman. Is there any opposition or discussion? Motion passes. Item 6, acceptance of the minutes of the August 8th, 2007 meeting.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve by Steve Barrow, seconded by Sherry Slyman. Any opposition or discussion?
I'll abstain. I was not present.
Okay, I have one abstention. Julio Dumas abstains. Motion passes. Item 7, public hearing to consider the following: 7-8 Bullion Crossing Planned Unit Development Conceptual Plan.
Good evening. Mickey Robertson with SJV Group. I'm here tonight representing the developers of Bullion Crossing. I think all of you have a little packet in front of you and follow along with some of the items I'm going to be going through tonight. The basic overview of the development: it is an 84-acre piece of property that is mainly pastures, some rolling hills, a little bit of wooded area on one side of it. It is located on, if you call it, the west side of Airline Highway, just south of the intersection of Airline Highway and Highway 42. Bullion Crossing will be a mixed-use development that's going to consist of some single-family residential units, townhomes, and a commercial area, as well as a community center and some park areas. While we are providing a mixture of uses, we are also maintaining the underlying density requirements of the property of 3 dwelling units per acre. We will also have a green space that is approximately 40% of the site, or about 250% of the requirement in Ascension Parish. The next page in our packet is the land use concept plan. I just want to point out that tonight we are asking for approval of our concept plan. So at this point, what we're looking to establish are our maximum densities that we're going to be allowed, the areas where these densities are going to be located, the general circulation for vehicles and pedestrians, our detention requirements, and our traffic requirements. The one thing I do want to point out, because I've heard some discussion about this tonight, if you'll look at your land use concept plan, there are no T-turnarounds in this development. I think previously we did have a couple of T-turnarounds, and we have eliminated those. So we have taken your new ordinance into account. The residential portion of the development, which will consist of phases 1 and 2, will be approximately 75 acres, and we're asking for 3 dwelling units per acre, which is the underlying zoning. The commercial will be approximately 9 acres, and we're asking for a little over 16,000 square feet per acre, or about 150,000 square feet of commercial. Some of the community benefits that will be included on some of our final development plans are the provision for a mixture of uses to encourage pedestrian circulation, promoting health, public health, safety, and welfare. Also, the developer is voluntarily setting landscape standards for the development. Although there are none in Ascension Parish at this time, they will be included in the codes and covenants of the development. We're also designating approximately 40% of the site as green open space. Again, we are maintaining the 3 dwelling units per acre. And previously there was some discussion about the lots that back up to Swamp Road and the lots along Swamp Road, making them a little larger, and we have allowed for that to be able to take place in our concept plan. As I stated before, we will have a community swimming pool and pool house and community area with playgrounds for kids 2 to 12 years old, basically. There will be a homeowners association set up with an architectural review committee that will maintain high architectural standards for the development. The homeowners association will have the right to place liens on homeowners, and there will be a representative of the commercial property on the homeowners association. Last but not least are the traffic and drainage impact studies that were prepared. The drainage study showed no impact on upstream or downstream properties. We are providing a detention area. The traffic study did show some impact on Airline Highway, and as you can see on the traffic and drainage slide, we are proposing to go in, or we are going into a joint agreement with the developers of Commerce Center to do improvements on Airline Highway. These will include a turn lane and a signalized intersection on Airline Highway. The signalized intersection will be at the entrance into Commerce Center on Gateway Drive, and so will the turn lane. At this point, those are comments I have. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Comments or questions from commissioners?
Seems in the past I've seen a drawing that I don't see tonight. I know you're bringing before us a conceptual plan, but it seems though I've seen a drawing of this that shows some significant trees. In your preliminary discussion, you said there was mostly pasture, a few trees here and there, but to my best recollection, I think I've seen a drawing that shows some significant historical trees. There you go. I'm wondering why I didn't get a copy of that tonight. Secondly, do you have a copy? Can I see it?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, how about going ahead and putting it on the projector?
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I have another copy I can.
Okay.
I'm not sure how to operate this, so
It's operating.
there you go. I'm better at this than I thought.
The trees were indicated on the drawing, but were the trees inspected before?
Right.
Were they? Was there? Tell me about that. Was there a tree count, tree inventory?
Yes. Yeah. So what you see before you, it's kind of hard to see the color, but you can see the darker trees in this area are trees that are to remain, and the lighter colored trees are the ones to be removed. The developer and one of our landscape architects made a site visit several weeks ago and identified. Make sure I get the nomenclature right. All trees between 24 inches or greater, oak trees, and those are what's shown. All these trees that are shown, these are all of them, between 24 and 48 inches. And we identified and plotted them on the map to show the ones that could be saved and the ones that could not. And not all of these are historical live oaks, 400 years old. Some of them are scrub trees. And
What's the species composition of those trees? I just see green and shaded.
yeah, I could let our landscape architect speak directly to that. I don't know the exact.
I'm Eric Poche for SJB. The trees that we surveyed were 24 to 48 inch live oak, cow oak, and live oak, cow oak, pin oak. I want to forget about that.
You mean water oak tree?
Red oak, cow oak, and live oak. We were not concerned about water oaks. We were not concerned about gum trees. The main reason for that is that those are not trees that are considered to be historic trees or trees of any great significance. The thing about the water oaks is that you always have to worry about weak branches and limbs and whatnot falling out. The area to the rear on what was previously going to be the Brock property was not surveyed per se. We surveyed along the edges of that to get significant trees that we felt would be impacted by the development, and that's pretty much it. I mean, we basically still are looking at maybe losing 10 to 15% of the trees occurring on the site to development.
Okay, so So what I'm hearing from you is that you had a landscape architect prepare a rough tree inventory.
This, he did it.
Yes.
Okay. And so you didn't have a licensed arborist do that.
No.
You had a landscape architect do that.
No. Yes, the trees were surveyed. The trees, the individual trees that you see on there were trees that were surveyed and were verified by me. And the rest of the trees are just areas that are not affected on the property on the west end of the property. The individual trees were actually surveyed.
Okay. And so now you've got these trees on here that that you've done this preliminary survey by a landscape architect. Your next step is you said you want to save those trees.
Correct.
Okay. And so you have a tree management plan set aside for those trees, and what you mean by saving or keeping, you have that prepared and ready too.
No, we don't have that prepared and ready right now. We are going to have a management plan put together with the efforts that we're going to take to be able to save the trees that we anticipate saving.
Okay, and so you're going to take those efforts before construction begins.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, and the management plan will be in effect before construction begins.
Yes.
And you're fully aware that a landscape architect is not qualified to do that evaluation on trees according to Horticultural Title III in the state of Louisiana. It has to be done by a Louisiana licensed and certified arborist.
What kind of certification are you referring to?
A Louisiana licensed arborist. It can be an ISA certified arborist too, but they must hold a license by the Louisiana Department of Agriculture and Forestry.
What are you referring? What certification are you referring to?
The guy that prepares that plan and says what the trees need to be kept. And if you're telling us, you're telling the parish we're going to keep these trees, then I want to see the plan. The plan must be written by an arborist. It can't be written by a landscape architect. It has to be written by an arborist.
Whatever the law requires is what will be done.
Okay, and also that tree inventory must be recertified by an arborist. In other words, you've got you said red oak. You put on your list red oak. There's 13 species of red oaks in Louisiana. Red oak isn't good enough for an arborist. Okay, so when you say you want to keep trees, and this is the agreement, then underneath that agreement, we're going to want to see some details underneath that agreement.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Not a problem at all.
Okay.
That's, again, we're here for concept. To get to that level of detail.
Well, yeah, but
more
under
than
concept,
happy.
if you want to keep trees before you begin cutting dirt and removing, a lot of developers get themselves into problems because they want to keep trees, right? And we've been told, as a member of this commission, I've been up here for about 2.5 years, and I've been told we want to keep the trees. Well, keeping trees is a good idea, and it's a good warm fuzzy, but if you don't do the right things, the tree may be standing, you've damaged all the root structure, and then a year later when somebody moves into that house, they've got a dead tree they've got to take out. So you've left an amenity, but it's really a liability. And so if you guys are saying we want to save trees, I applaud that effort. But I'm not going to take anything less than doing exactly what's right and exactly what's certifiably right to keep every tree that you tell me you're going to save. We're going to keep every tree. I agree we don't have a landscape and tree ordinance in this parish. We will. But if you tell me you're going to save them, then we're going to save them.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions from commissioners? Well, I've got one. Mickey, the comment from the RA. Traffic analysis assumes the traffic signal will be installed at Swamp Road Airline intersection. The developer should contact DOT to determine the development's impact at this intersection. Just a general update as far as y'all have been in contact with DOTD and
That signal has been permitted by DOTD.
Okay.
It will be installed. I'm not sure the name of the development, that it was a requirement for them to build it, but it has been permitted through DOTD and it will be installed.
okay, because I mean we've got a situation here that's a little out of the ordinary. The two developments
Right.
commingling.
Sure.
No, that's not the one at
No,
Swamp Road.
it's not.
You said Swamp Road.
It's Swamp Road, but at the same time they still had to contact part of what's been going on, not just with Swamp Road but Airline Highway, because we have required them to come out through Commerce Center to Airline Highway. So it isn't just the signal that there's other things that they had to contact DOTD on, and I was kind of getting an update on all of it, not just the one item.
Sure.
Any other comments or questions from commissioners? Mr. Sigler, you're not a commissioner, but I'll let you go ahead and ask a question.
On the plat that on the Brock property, backed up against the railroad track, there's a crosshatch section, pretty good size, that's labeled approximate location of mitigation cut area. Exactly what is a mitigation cut area?
Basically, that was an agreement that was worked out with Commerce Center. They have some areas that are below the flood zone that they are filling, and as part of their development, they were using the pond area for their mitigation. We want to use the pond for our detention, so we're going to give them our mitigation.
Okay.
It's just a swap.
Well, but if you're going to cut that, then you're not going to preserve those trees.
Correct. Yeah.
But then the map you just showed us, it's not accurate.
Did it?
We're going to replant it. It's going to be reforested after we're done. He's talking about this area. Oh, sorry. I need to turn it back on. This area right in here is an area where they're going to be clearing and cutting, and then it's going to be reforested after we're done.
Any other comments or questions from commissioners?
Yes, ma'am.
When we originally saw the plat, you had a tie-in to Swamp Road. Now, I know the tie-in's gone. What happened to the lot?
It was not purchased. Correct. The lot that went out before.
That was part of the Odom's property.
Oh, it's still there. I'm sorry. It's right. Again, go back to the map. It's right here.
No, the other side of Swamp Road.
Right.
You purchased that lot, Kelly? I don't remember exactly what.
It's not yet, we're not doing any work.
So what's it going to be? How do we
not
know
gonna-
you'll never make a tie-in or something?
Because we have to come here to do that.
Because the lots are there.
Right. Yeah, it's just a lot on Swamp Road. It's not part of this development.
Okay, and the reason I'm asking is because the adjoining property owners have contacted me about it and want to know what's going on.
Right. It is not a part of this development. Will not be.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions from commissioners? If there are no other comments or questions from commissioners, we'll go ahead and open up the public hearing. Anyone wishing to come up and address the commission on this property, please come up, sign in with the secretary, and you will get your 3 minutes to speak.
Hi guys, Councilman Fontenot, District 4. I just wanted to tell you guys that I do approve of this development. They have kept their density within the zoning, and I do approve the trees. And so I want to make sure that those trees are numbered so that we have the number that they're going to be there and that they do protect them. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. No one else signed up, so. Comments or questions from commissioners?
So you're comfortable with all of the conditions that are on the ERA
Yes,
for
sir.
the traffic improvements,
Yes, sir.
including the adding of the traffic signal on airline and the entrance?
Yes, sir.
And as the chair asked, that you've gone to the OTD and you've verified or begun the process of finding out what the impact of this project is on the traffic signal at Swamp Road and Airline.
Correct. Right.
And then that particular light is permitted.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I want to ask a quick question. And this may be a procedural question. Would this be the appropriate time to ask about phasing, or is that not a part of the concept plan?
I can speak on that.
It's
The
being,
basic
it's
plan is
being
right here.
presented, so I
It's
mean,
here.
it's...
It's right here. It's on the drawing.
Okay, I noticed in y'all's commentary that you're going to, let's see, it says construction of the common area amenities will begin at 75% of the single-family lots once they're sold.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not sure, Charles, have you, in our ordinance, it looks to me like it has to be developed concurrently, not after a certain point. They have to be... Yeah, you need to check on that because...
It's not a problem.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions from commissioners?
And then we're going to make two motions, correct?
I was getting ready to go ahead and remind commissioners.
Right.
We will be voting first as the Planning Commission, then as the Zoning Commission. The motion will be to recommend to the Parish Council. So, if there are no other comments or questions from commissioners, what is the wish of the Commission?
I make a motion to approve to recommend as the Planning Commission Bouillon Crossing to the council.
Can I ask to consider
Yes.
some conditions?
Yes.
Condition number one, subject to the applicant presenting a comprehensive tree preservation plan that's acceptable to the Planning Commission, a reforestation plan of the approximate, or the mitigation cut area, and compliance with all of the traffic improvements outlined in the ERA letter, comments letter dated. This is the date of this letter. Where's my front page? August 31, 2007.
And if I might, a tree inventory to be completed by a Louisiana arborist prior to the project beginning. Development. Cutting dirt, moving dirt, needs to be inventoried. We need to understand what we've got, what we can manage it.
Do I have to repeat all that?
No, you don't.
I'll just say as requested.
As requested.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion to approve. Now we're voting as the Planning Commission. Okay, so we got to do the same thing as the Zoning Commission. All right, I have a motion to approve with conditions by Paige Becknell. Right. Yeah. Well, a motion to recommend approval with condition by Paige Becknell, seconded by Julio Dumas. Is there any opposition or discussion? Motion passes. Now we'll vote as the Zoning Commission.
I'll make a motion to recommend to the council as the Zoning Commission, same as above.
Second, same as above.
I have a motion to approve recommendation with condition by Paige Becknell, seconded by Julio Dumas. Is there any opposition or discussion? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see. Item 7B, Town Park Center, small planned unit development plan.
Commissioners, I have a short PowerPoint presentation that I'd like to give y'all on this issue. Thank you.
Wait a minute. The commission adopted a policy some time back as far as PowerPoint presentations need to be cleared before. You just don't come up and give a PowerPoint presentation. It had to be cleared ahead of time.
You cleared it.
Okay, so you did clear it with Charles. All right, go ahead then.
Thank you. My name's Edward Idell with Alvin Farabin Associates, representing the development of Town Park Center, a small planned unit development. This development is located just west of the intersection of Swamp Road and Airline Highway, as you can see in the vicinity map. It's approximately 500 feet to the west of Airline Highway. The existing site is 5.2 acres. The old land use was residential. The old residence has been vacated, has been partially demolished at this time. The current zoning for the property is 69% RM and 31% MU. The vast majority of the site, 95%, is not located in a flood zone. Only a small portion of the site is located in a flood zone. The surrounding land use to the north, east, and south is existing commercial. To the west is the existing residential on Swamp Road. Just adjoining the eastern property line of this development is the new car wash that's currently under construction. This area was prepared to kind of show you all those existing commercial developments. The purple, which is on the south side of Swamp Road, is our development. The green areas comprise the new bank at the corner of Swamp Road and Airline, and the new commercial development on the north side of Swamp Road, which includes the Taco Bell. The dark blue area is actually where the car wash is currently under construction. And that light blue area on the south side is the existing analytical stress facility. The furthest western boundary of our development, what we're going to do there is put a single family residence in order to provide that buffer between all of this commercial development at that intersection and the existing residential property on Swamp Road. So what we're going to try to do with this development is provide that transition from a car wash to the existing single-family residential neighborhoods that are located on Swamp Road. Again, the western part of this development is going to be a 0.8-acre residential lot for a single-family residence. The remaining 4.38 acres is going to be professional office space where you have an attorney, accountant, real estate agent, engineer, architect's office. There's proposed 8 commercial buildings with a total square footage of 42,000. The total acreage of green space is going to be a little over 1 acre, which is approximately 4 times what's required by your ordinance, which is approximately 0.22 acres for this development. 181 parking spaces. This is the conceptual plan for this small plan unit development. The brown rectangles represent the buildings that will be placed on the site. The gray areas are the parking and drives. That lighter brown square in the lower left corner is where the proposed single-family residence will be located. And obviously all the green areas would be the green space. These are just some photos of the existing commercial developments in that vicinity. This is the United Community Bank at the intersection of Swamp Road and Airline. This is the Taco Bell that's a part of that development on the north side of Swamp Road at Airline. This is a photograph showing the car wash that's currently under construction, which adjoins this property on the east side, La Grove Car Wash. These are just some photographs to show you the type of construction that we're going to utilize for this development. It's going to be a very nice, aesthetically pleasing residential style architecture with the architectural shingles, stucco, brick. You're not going to see any metal buildings go up on this piece of property. And this is just some more examples as to the type of architecture. As far as traffic concerns, we also had Neil Schaefer prepare a traffic impact study to submit to your review engineer. And as the previous developers stated, the OTD has already approved the permit for the signalization of Swamp Road and Airline. That's going to provide a significant improvement to the traffic in that area, and it's going to far outweigh the minor impacts that our development would have, and that's been shown in the study. Impacts of drainage. We also prepared a drainage impact study that was presented to the review engineer that showed that there would be no negative impacts to the upstream or downstream properties. As far as impacts to sewer, the sewage generated by this development will be treated by a new on-site sewage treatment facility. No existing facilities will be impacted. As far as impacts to water, Ascension Water Company has distribution mains adjacent to this development, and they have the capacity to serve it. What Town Park Center will bring to the community? 42,000 square feet of professional office space. Keep in mind, these are businesses that are open from 8 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock in the evening, Monday through Friday. There's not going to be any activity on the weekends or late in the afternoon like you would have with, a grocery store or convenience store, things of that nature. By approving this development, we feel that you will be defining that boundary between all of this commercial development at the intersection of Swamp Road and Airline and the existing residents and the people that live on Swamp Road. On this site, we're going to have that single-family residence adjacent to our neighbor, who also is a single-family residence. And I think that's pretty much it. If y'all have any questions, feel free to ask.
Have you had an opportunity to look at the comments from the ERA?
Yes, we have.
As I'm looking at them, and I'm kind of curious, the existing condition map does not comply with the SPUD checklist due to not providing an aerial image. The consultant did not properly model the existing pond. The proposed drainage servitude that separates the residential lot from the commercial area is not large enough for the proposed ditch section. The traffic analysis assumes that the traffic signal will be installed at Swamp Road Airline intersection. The developer should contact DOT to determine this development's impact at this intersection. Now, you're talking about quality and what you're going to bring, but I'm looking at comments like this, and how can I be what assurances do I have you're going to take care of the big things if you're not taking care of the little things?
All of those items have been addressed, except for Mr. Sanjay has requested that we gather some additional survey data on the outfall structure for the existing pond, and we've actually collected that today. The aerial photograph has been provided, the servitude has been increased, and what was the other thing you brought up?
Oh, then there was a traffic analysis assumes that
our traffic impact study did take that into consideration, and that information is provided in the traffic impact study. The DOTD approved the permit for that signal on August 29th. It's going to be constructed.
Mr. Sanjay, can you verify what he has told us?
It must have come after the letter was written.
Yes, after we've done some correspondence back and forth with the consultant regarding the aerial image. It's a checklist item. It appeared that it was going in between different submittals. It didn't arrive at our office. Some of the submittal deadlines between just through the whole process, but it does exist. We found that it has been provided at some point. We can't define exactly when or what deadline, but aerial image does exist. The main reason why it's on the checklist is to provide the Planning Commission the opportunity to look what the aerial surrounding area looks like, which is what they have provided in their presentation tonight. The existing pond, just as he has stated, they've contacted us to say that they've sent a survey crew out. They're going to provide some additional details to model the existing pond. The drainage servitude, from what I've seen through correspondence, they will increase that drainage servitude. What that affects is just going to be reflected on your plat. Instead of a 15-foot drainage servitude, I'm assuming that's going to be whatever it calls for, 30, 35 foot. And considering that's going to be a single-family lot, I don't see how how that will affect their layout. It's more of a detail issue to show what's in your drainage calculations to match the servitude to be depicted correctly on your plat.
If it increases from 15 to 35 feet, it's going to affect the layout because, with setbacks that they're showing and everything, I don't see how they're going to. Well, what are you going to do? Take it all out of the residential property rather than is that where you're going to put the servitude in?
I'll leave that question to the consultant on that.
Yeah, it is. I'm sorry. I mean, if it's going to increase from 15 to 35 feet, I think you need to address what impact that may have on the layout.
Some of it would be on the back of the commercial part, and some of it would be on the residential tract. Right.
But it'll be mostly on the residential?
Mostly on the residential tract. And it's an 80-foot wide lot, so, I mean, you've got plenty of room to provide a servitude along that boundary line. And we have increased the width of the servitude.
Any other comments or questions from commissioners?
I have a comment. Of course, I'm looking at the landscape plan. You have the willow trees that you're planting in these in this landscape plan. Am I reading that right?
I believe
it just says willow. I'm assuming that's a willow tree.
That's correct.
Yeah, I would substitute willow tree. It's not going to do well for an urban planting. Something like a Savannah holly or Burford holly maybe, but willow tree is not going to do well. Notorious for busting up sewage lines and water lines and all those sorts of things. You don't want to introduce that to that area. So amend that landscape plan.
Any changes that you would request as far as the landscaping is concerned?
Well, that's very minimal, but we'll start there. But I would kill the willow trees for sure.
Okay. I'm not a landscape architect, so I didn't prepare that.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions from commissioners?
Is ERA comfortable enough with the modeling of the pond to proceed, or are they still, you guys are still waiting on some more information?
Well, if he surveyed what we asked him to, obviously he hasn't incorporated that in his model and resubmitted it, right?
Michael, we actually collected that survey data today.
Right.
I don't know how familiar you are with it, but there's a pipe with some concrete debris that has been placed in front of that pipe. So it's kind, you know, we went out and got the elevations, and the party chief actually called back to our office and said that it was just a few tenths difference from what we had originally submitted to you for the invert elevation of the outfall.
Well, here's my concern, Eddie. You've got a large commercial site, and you're basically relying on a pond that's downstream of you on someone else's property to achieve your detention, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So I'm in a position where I'm not looking at your development. I'm looking at this property owner just downstream from you and trying to answer the question, is your development going to increase the water surface? And I know you've got a model submitted that says it doesn't.
0.05 of a
But
foot.
my reviewers are telling me they've got problems with not knowing the detail of the outfall information. They've got problems with the timing of your hydrographs. And, you know, it would be different if this pond was on your property, okay? And, you know, if there was a higher water surface, you would be impaired with it. This is a totally different situation.
But
and let me just finish. That is why we put the comments there, because we're in a position that if this thing gets approved and you come back and you can't engineeringly, with sound engineering practice, prove that you have an increase of water surface to the guy downstream, I'm in a jam.
But Mike, it is less than a 4% increase from what the existing 10-year discharge is through that ditch that runs through our property. I mean, it's from pre to post development inflows 151 to 147. I mean,
and all that is based on timing of hydrographs, and unless Sean tells me that something else has been submitted since I last talked to him, I'm just telling you we're not comfortable yet.
And if y'all aren't comfortable, Michael, we would request that if that's the, and we understand that being an issue, Michael, and if I didn't realize that was still
well, it just
an issue.
Not just getting the survey data, we've got to have that plugged back in the model. We've got to understand, and it's, you know, this is an abundance of caution, but this is the only site, frankly, that we've ever. And I'm not opposed to the concept of what you're doing, but this is the only site we've ever had this where your increase of flow, and you are increasing the flow from within your property, you're relying on someone else's pond to do the work for you. And it's a higher degree. All I can say is we're looking
Right.
at it with a higher degree of caution.
And the pond does encroach upon our property. Part of the outfall structure isn't located on this property.
Right.
Part of the pond is, and that being an issue, Michael, I would request that the commission defer us and allow us to come back and provide additional information to Mr. Sanji.
Because if you widen the servitude, and you know, the issue with DOTD is, you know, that's all I'm pointing out is that they may determine that your development should pay some portion of that signal
Some
cost.
portion of the improvements.
I'm not going to get into that business, but at least as a courtesy to DOTD, your traffic study is dependent on that signal going in. So as a courtesy to DOTD, we just want to make sure they're aware that your development is coming, and it'll be their decision to make.
Right. We did contact them, and they
Okay.
actually gave us the date, Michael. So we did let them
Right.
know. That,
And
that we
if
were-
they're going to build it and don't ask you for a contribution, that's their business.
Okay.
We don't care. All I'm trying to make the commission aware of is that your traffic study depended on that signal going in. Therefore, we want to make sure DOTD is aware that you're coming. But so it sounds to me it's pretty well all resolved, other than the pond. And it's, again, we're just looking at this with a higher degree of caution than we normally do.
Well, I'm getting from the conversation that there may be some more information you want to hold off and maybe get some time to get some more answers together.
If Michael's not, and he's just told us that he's not satisfied with the information provided on that pond, I would request that you defer it to your next meeting so we can get him that information.
All right, well,
O'Neill, can we defer?
If he requests, you can.
Okay.
well, we can go ahead and defer now, or we can at least open up the public hearing and see if there's anyone here that wants to speak on it, since it was advertised, and you know, possibly there are residents that did show up.
We need to open up the public hearing.
Yeah. So at this time, I'm going to open up the public hearing. Anyone wishing to come up and speak on this property, please come up, sign in with the secretary, and you will get your 3 minutes to speak.
Good evening again. I'm Cheryl Fontenot, councilwoman in this district. This is a unique piece of property that's zoned already 2 different zone codes. The property owner is trying to get an office there, and the only way that we could possibly figure out the best way to do it was through a PUD, because this protects what goes on that property. If you guys offered us to rezone the property to just strict commercial, then it opened up for other things that may not be desirable should they decide to sell. But by doing a PUD, this allows the zoning to be zoned a PUD, and then should they sell, what's in the PUD would be what they would have to bill whoever else bought it, unless it came back to us. So I am going to I highly approve of this. It is not adding any more houses into my district but 1, and that's a very big thing with me. So whatever you guys can do to work out, or to help them work out what they need to do to get this property so that they can build the real estate office and put the other businesses there, I would appreciate it. Thank you. I highly support this.
Thank you. No one else signed up, Patrice? Okay. Comments or questions from commissioners?
I just have one comment. I really don't see the purpose of one house as a buffer. Just a suggestion. I mean, this is property, but a suggestion would be, why not just make it a public park, a park area where people can come run, put some trees in there, a couple of benches. I'm not sure one house is really feasible, but that's just my opinion.
I thought we had took that direction from the workshop, because, you know, I think y'all will probably remember originally we had several houses there.
You
And
did.
y'all said, how about one house? So
I wasn't at the second workshop for that.
Actually, I was reading the ordinance this week, and it says actually a PUD combines more than one land use.
well, this is a spud.
Same thing. Same. This would apply to both. But a common open space is a land use. So that might be something that would help you if you needed more drainage area or something on that.
Just a
that piece of
suggestion.
property.
Thank you. And keep in mind, too, we do have in excess of an acre of green space without that 80-foot residential lot. You know, according to the ordinance, it would only be required to have like 0.22 acres. If I'm not
No, and this is, I'm thinking of it because I know Miss Vilar wants to use her piece of property, and this is the best use. I agree with Cheryl, because we don't want it to be mixed use. You don't know what's going to happen on mixed use. So this would be, I agree, a spud is the correct zoning for this property. That's my personal opinion also.
And we just thought that, you know, in actuality, one of the partners in the development is thinking about putting his house there so he can be next to his business. So that was really one of the reasons why.
He could jog next to work too, though.
That's right.
This
and
is
walk
true.
his dog and
Jog
sit
in
on a
the front
bench.
yard.
Do y'all have a list of commercial allowable things? Commercial. I don't have that in my packet, but I think somebody mentioned that there was
I think
one.
we had provided a list of examples.
So within the plat.
Just to give you an idea as the type of businesses that they intend to attract to this professional office park.
Any other comments or questions from commissioners?
You know, and I made that request, but I don't guess it would be possible for y'all to approve and contingent upon us providing that information to Michael, to where he could give you he could tell you that he's comfortable with the pond working prior to the council meeting, because we've already collected
I'm
this.
going to leave that up to the commission. It's going to be up to the commission.
I've gotten indications from Michael that he seems to want to see that. So, based on that, I'm going to make a motion to defer until the next meeting at the applicant's request.
Second.
Okay. As the Planning Commission, I have a motion to defer by Steve Barrow, seconded by Julio Dumas. Is there any opposition or discussion? Motion passes. As the Zoning Commission,
Motion to defer based on the applicant's request.
I have a motion to defer by Steve Barrow, seconded by Julio Dumas. Is there any opposition or discussion? Motion passes. Item 8 on our agenda. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I have a motion to adjourn
Second.
by Julio Dumas, seconded by Scott Courtwright. Is there any opposition or discussion? Motion passes, and we will reconvene in 10 minutes for the Zoning Commission meeting.